Burra was the first surveyed mining town in Australia, and by 1851 it was Australia's largest inland town. Built in 1880, this building was originally the shop and residence of tailor Andrew Wade. The building was acquired by the Burra branch of the National Trust of South Australia and opened as a museum in 1966. The shop at the front of the building is now a sweet shop. On display in the museum are a large number of artefacts and furnishings from the period 1880 to 1920, donated by members of the district. Outcrops of brightly coloured copper were found by shepherds at two locations in remote country near Burra Creek in 1845. The creek had earlier been named by Afghan cameleers and is Hindustani for great. The Morfett's engine house originally housed an 80-inch diameter Cornish beam pumping engine and was erected in 1858. The Burra Creek Special Survey or Monster Mine measured 8 miles by 4 miles. By 1850, Burra was the largest metal ferrous mine in Australia and produced 5% of the world's copper up to 1860. More than 1,000 men and boys were employed during the period, most of them Cornish. The powder magazine was erected in 1847 and is one of the oldest remaining mine buildings in Australia. It was used to store gunpowder and has an arched stone roof for strength. It was restored by the National Trust in 1976. From the top of the hill, the Burra Lookout provides a full view of the township of Burra. The first police station was erected on this site in 1847. In 1851, the police force consisted of 3 constables and 3 mounted police for a community of 5,000. Redruth Courthouse, erected in 1857, sits next to the police station. The police lockup and stables were erected at the rear of the police station in 1847. The cells were used as temporary jail until the Redruth Jail was completed in 1856. Redruth Trail was erected in 1856 at a cost of nearly £3,200. It was set back from the mine and the town, well outside any possible mining claims. Redruth Jail was the first jail erected in South Australia outside of Adelaide. Thomas Perry was jailkeeper for 25 years and the jail was often referred to as Perry's Hotel. The jail provided accommodation for Perry and his family, the turnkey and 30 prisoners, male and female. The site doubled as a South African prison in the film Break Moran. The jail was closed in 1894 and the prisoners transferred to Gladstone Jail. In 1897 it became a girls' reformatory and finally closed in 1922. This township was laid out in the style of an English village by Thomas Powell in 1857 and named after Edward Hampton, Aasaia at the smelting works. It was abandoned in the 1960s, but extensive ruins remain. Copper metal was produced. By 1851, more than 1,000 men were employed by the smelting works. The chimney was demolished in 1956 as it was considered dangerous. The Unicorn Brewery cellars were built in 1873 on the site of an earlier brewery and served the town's 9 hotels. The brewery complex consisted of a tall malting tower, offices, cooper's workshops, steam engine and boiler to operate the pumps and manager's residence. The brewery was closed in 1902 due to new licensing laws. The cellars, storeroom and walls of the brewery block still stand today. Three rows of miners' cottages were erected in 1849 and 1852 to encourage miners to leave their dugout homes in Burra Creek. Through continuous use and luck, these historical residences have been preserved to the present day and now provide visitors accommodation. These are the dugouts the miners were encouraged to leave. The early rapid development of the Burra mine led to the shortage of housing. In 1851, about 1,800 people, out of a population of 4,400, lived in nearly 600 dugouts along Burra Creek and its tributaries. In 1851, a flood devastated the area, driving the inhabitants out. 3 dugouts survive. Many years of neglect, the Burra Railway Station was restored between 2011 and 2014. The wonderful Roy Kaplan, who was instrumental in restoration of the Town Hall, was the project manager. When the railway reached Burra in 1870, the Adelaide-Burra line was more than half the total railway line laid out in South Australia. In 1874, it took 5 hours for the 160-kilometre journey to Adelaide. The present station was erected in 1883 and replaced the 1870 wooden structure. It was originally known as Aberdeen Station. Until 1935, a large arched roof covered the tracks and platform. Rail services to Burra discontinued in 1985 and the line closed in 1988. With so much history so clearly visible, Burra does provide a trip back in time.